Hey guys, welcome to Rugby Banter. My name is Robbie Durant, and we are covering the local, national, international news live from Old Georgian Sports Club here in Harare, Zimbabwe. Wushe Mushe, it's a local show. I want to introduce my good guest here, Manny, my boy.
How's it everyone?
TC stepping in for Mox. TC, hi, my man.
Nice to be here, Robbie. Thanks.
Your Highness, whatever.
Yes, it's hot.
Hello. And we've got to introduce our guest, the legend of Zimbabwe rugby, Brendan Dawson. They call him Dorsey. We're going to be covering quite a bit tonight, Dorsey, just on the good, the bad, the ugly. And we're looking forward to catch up with you as well. Right, guys, we're going to be covering just quickly. There's aquatics, Zimbabwe aquatics, and the South African swimming championships. Jan, it's because I'm good stuff there.
Yeah, I think it's quite good. It's lucky that all the schools, they've been punting their individual swimmers on social media platforms. And yeah, we're very proud of our swimmers down there, make us proud. And we'll be watching their results fondly.
Well, we know Zimbabwe's got some brilliant swimmers. They, from Kursi Coventry, won the gold at the Olympics, going on to a lot of producing a lot of excellent swimmers that are going and getting opportunities overseas in America, wherever they go.
Yeah, well, just look at this table. I mean, you could pick a swimming team from here, couldn't you? Nice. Was any of you actually do anything more than length, or were we more of a depth type of person, buggers? Straight down.
I don't know. I'm a Google.
Something like a spade.
Rolling the Biddix is happening. TC, you going to cover that a little bit for us?
Yeah, thanks, Robbie. So basically, Golden League is fantastic. It covers from grade 3, which is like 8-year-olds, all they're up to 13-year-olds. It's more inclusive. We've got a Harare conference, which is made out of Gateway, Wilfordia, HIS, Twin Rivers, Eaglesville, and the Heritage. There are also other schools that are taking part: Bryden, Barrett, Ridings, Loma Gandhi, and Bankett. So there are quite a lot of conferences going on. And I'll just encourage many schools to get part of it. So you've got your throws, your javelin, your shot put, your discus. You've got all age groups hurdling. In the past, in Zimbabwe, you've started at 7 years old. So it's fantastic. It's more inclusive, and it's just a hip.
Well, it's lovely to have all the schools coming together. It's empowering the schools. That's what we're going to see in Zimbabwe. Let's just quickly go to the cricket, guys. Zimbabwe has done fantastically against Ireland. They bounced back against Ireland. I think Dirk Viljoen coming in and as the general manager has been a good thing. Obviously, a thrill in Harare, lost by 1 run. Maddie, it's close.
I think we lost by 2 wickets. Yeah, and I think the Ireland series obviously was a good learning curve, but now against the Netherlands, the orange guys, we lost yesterday, and it was, geez, I thought we had it. I mean, we were like 65 for 5, and we were defending 260 runs or 250 runs.
50.
And yeah, and then we lost it. So well done to the Netherlands. I mean, they had the one batsman who came in at number 7 and made us 100.
But I think Germany both did that. Even for Zimbabwe, we were down, yeah, almost the same, and we managed. Our down really did well for us. So I think it was a cracker. Look, it's always tight against these guys every single time. They beat us at the World Cup where they were here in Zim. We beat them the last time, so we are in for a cracking rest of the season. So let's just enjoy it.
Dorsey, you were quite a good cricketer back in your day, Milton days.
Yeah, could bowl a couple of balls and bat and smash a couple of runs. Yeah, not too bad.
Limited to 8 ball overs or unlimited, guys?
It's 249 all night, and the Netherlands 255 for 8. So they managed to. Next game is Thursday coming up, and then is Saturday. Is the 3 games that are happening here in Zimbabwe. Guys, just quickly, also talking about, there's a big fight coming up. Manny, I know you're passionate about this. Tyson Fury is taking on Usyk.
Is that happening in Bulawayo, or? There's always fights always at work. There's always fights in Bulawayo. At Boston.
And yeah, unification of the belts. It's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Let's hope. We know it's going to be brilliant. And yeah, it's going to be great. They've only given it like a month or two's practice. I think they've been preparing this and only announced it now. So they obviously had it planned, and let's just hope it's going to be as good as we hope it is. Okay, so we'll be covering that here on Rugby Banter. We've got so much good stuff coming up. As we said, we're going to be able to let it glide next week, Thursday, on the 30th for the 7s. The Rugby Banter are going to be there, so if you are there, put in, come say hello. We'd love to meet you. Right, we've also got our famous crowd here.
the Scooters versus Donkeys. Hi, guys. Right, so that's happening on the 1st of April. That's coming up on the 1st of April. You've got to get out there. It's going to be family orientated because we're going to taking on Bubway. I like the way you call it Bubway, by the way, as our Bubway show. So, guys, it's happening 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's 107 Schuller Road, Rua. So that's where it's happening. Jan, can you ride a horse?
With what?
With a saddle.
Well, it's going to need a bloody big horse to carry this carcass, let me tell you. Most horses I can still touch the floor with my feet.
The North versus South, a clash of the horsepower. It's White versus Horse. So exciting stuff coming up. We cannot wait. Straight after the break, we've got some good times. The good, the bad, the ugly with Brendan Dawson. Hey guys, we're back at Bubway Banter. A big shout out to our audience. If you want to watch Bubway Banter, you want to follow us on our Facebook pages, Instagram, Bubway Banter, and check us out where exactly we're going to be next week. Next week we are at Tanetic. Please put in there on Thursday, the 30th of April. Right, we are introducing the legend of Zimbabwe rugby, probably the most passionate coach I've ever met. Had some privilege of spending some time with him last year, just seeing what he was trying to do, or what he was doing with the World Cup, and how difficult and challenging those obstacles were. 108 caps for Zimbabwe, his first cap against Scotland.
Scotland, yeah, in Bulawayo actually. So home of rugby.
The home of rugby. Sorry, where was it?
What's Hartsfield?
Hartsfield, the home of rugby.
108 caps, his first cap against Scotland. His last cap against Namibia. Dorsey, that is an incredible career. No one's broken that record of 108 test caps. Has anyone come close yet?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think Andy Ferreira is probably the closest. And so I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not too sure if guys are keeping records and if guys are doing that anymore. But, Andy Ferreira, myself, we were probably, and Bucky Buchanan, Bucky Buchanan. And we're probably the most experienced, most capped rugby players around.
Well, 108 caps, the body must be feeling it now, Dorsey, but you're looking fit, you're looking good. Doing a bit of training on the side?
No, not at all. But I practice. I say every day I'm going to start today, and then I'll say next day, and the next day, and
When it's working.
look at it.
Wrong. I'll start tomorrow. It's not working.
Right, he has been classed as his blood is Matabele lad. Dorsey, I know you are so passionate about the Mats.
Yeah, rugby. I mean, obviously that's where I was born and where I come from, and went to school there, and played my rugby through, with Matabele and then obviously with the national side there. So yeah, obviously I'm proud to be Matabele, but loving being up in Harare. It's I feel sometimes that I should move up here and come and live here, and so forever. But I think
I don't think it'll work, because Dorsey's blood type is Matabele plus. I don't think they stock it in hospitals. And all he ever does is talk about how he's going to smash the shifties.
I did.
We did. Yes, sir.
Can't anymore, but yeah, look, I'm enjoying up in Harare, and it's good here, good people around me, and good people up here. So I've enjoyed it.
You say that can't, but we go back a couple of years. We came down there at our strongest Mashonaland team, and Matabeleland people came from across the border. They came from everywhere, and Matabeleland beat a very strong Mashonaland team. So I think in your ranks, still in Bulawayo, you must have some lighters hidden away.
No, obviously, that same old story, across the Shangani, you got to be careful of the Zimus that are around. and those oaks used to cross that Shangani, they used to think twice about thinking they could win. Is that right? Yeah, look, there is. And obviously we've just got to try and develop the game of rugby in Bulawayo again. It seems to have died down. And there is one guy, Ruben Kapasi, who's really trying hard to get it right. But he needs support. He needs the people behind him. He needs sponsorship. He needs, the public around him and the business community to help him. But there are some players here. I mean, I brought up 5 really good young talented players up for the Currie Cup side. And 5 is a lot. I mean, we've only been looking at 1 or 2 in the past.
Are there any like big companies that are in Bulawayo or around or in Iskudini, J.R. Goddard's, those type of fellas that you could approach to just say, look, can't we start an academy or something in Bulawayo to at least cherry pick the best?
I mean, there's many companies in Bulawayo. Yeah? You got the big Deltas, you got the Monarchs, there's some big organizations up in Bulawayo. But it's for people to come back and believe and to see the future of rugby in our country. A lot of people still ask me why am I still doing it for, because they don't see the rugby growing, they don't see it getting any, it's growing and developing, but there's not the passionate people behind it all like some of us are. So people still think that there's no hope and we'll never qualify for another World Cup. Where I think differently and a couple of us think differently.
So a couple of the debates we've had is to say to some of the government schools, because obviously you need the numbers. Yeah. Look at a cherry pick from, you've got Falcon, you've got CBC, and then maybe a couple of the other private schools. But the idea would obviously to be getting into the government schools and trying to get a sponsor that can say, right, we'll go countrywide and create development throughout, saying we'll do the all black and white, the Bulawayo versus, Mashonaland, getting it together and trying to get some real sponsorship, because those were great tournaments. I mean, that was what we looked for, that was as good as it got. And I think if we could, we're on air here, if anyone is out there that can do that, or if there's any big companies that would be interested in helping Dawson, put together a Madabiland, a Mashonaland, and a just to get the numbers out, because that's where we need. If you've got a big lighty that's in a government school and you see he's got the opportunity, you could say, right, I think this guy would be good for that, and put him into a development squad. And it wouldn't be that hard to cherry pick from the schools. I mean, even if he's a hard soccer player, you'd probably be good at rugby, and try give him a chance. So I think this is a good opportunity to just say people out there, if you could approach Dawson or anybody in Zim Rugby and give those 90s an opportunity, because these government children, they slip away, and then, they're the ones that need the exposure. And I think that's what we need most. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you look at one of the young guys that are brought up into the squad from Bulawayo, I mean, he was, Ruben found him selling vegetables in of course, the western suburbs area, and I mean, he's 6'4". He's an athlete. He looks like a Kenyan. He's got that physique with long, strong body. Solar powered. And so we brought him up here, right? And I mean, he's developing. You've seen the state of him, what he's looking like now. He's developing into this monster, and where he's come from to where he's going to be, and where we hopefully be able to get contracts for him, be able to give him a future, be able to give him something that he can look forward to and feed his own family with. So those are the big things that's happening. And we've been fortunate to have had that happen in our last Currie Cup, and we've got guys that have gone to France and got contract from our World Cup setup. So guys have developed from something very, very small to guys that are, earning a fortune of money in Natal, playing at the Sharks and whatever.
Brilliant. We're going to unpack a lot with Dawson tonight. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the Zimbabwe side, the Zimbabwe Sables, Gosh Hawks. We know that the Currie Cup First Division, they did pretty well last year. This year, obviously, financial constraints. It's sad to see that our Zimbabwe rugby side cannot compete because of financial constraints. I mean, it's kind of unacceptable, is that where they have to go knock on the doors to try and get this money, and I'm talking about the coaches and the management. We're going to get into that. We're going to unpack that, but let's quickly just talk Rugby World Cup. It's been banter all week on this phone, on the WhatsApp group. Jan Ferreira, the Aussies are absolutely smiling at the pool that they've got, as the rest of the teams are going to struggle.
Robbie, when you look at how they've drawn this Rugby World Cup, New Zealand, France, South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, they're the top 5 in the rugby world in the world rankings, and one of them is not getting out of the pool. It's scary, and then they end up playing each other, knocking each other out in the quarterfinals. So when you look at Australia and England, they are going all the way straight to the semi, unless there's an upset. But I mean, if everything goes the way that it should, England and Australia have got a semi-final. South Africa, they've got to play against Scotland, Ireland, and Scotland and Ireland just to get out the pool. Then they've got either France or New Zealand in the quarterfinals, and then they're playing against Australia in the semi. So Australia, I think, I mean, if they really want to push for a World Cup where it's ever been in their favour, this is it. England have got...
I think it's Eddie Jones. So now you've got a guy that's a 98% World Cup record winner, and they've now got him at the heads. I mean, it's all Australia, isn't it?
But I mean, look at even New Zealand. Okay, so let's say New Zealand win their pool. They've got to play now Ireland or South Africa. Arguably, I mean, I don't know if Scotland are going. If Scotland do, well, then that's good for them. But they've got Ireland or South Africa in the quarterfinal. You know, it's going to be one of those World Cups where, look, they definitely have done the draw too early. But then when you look at those professional setups, I mean, Dawson, what is it like organizing hotels and stuff beforehand? So, you know, what do you do? At what point do you say, okay, well, we can wait for as long as possible? But before, they did it 2 years after World Cup. This time, they did it the year after the World Cup. That's when they did the draw. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very exciting World Cup, but it's going to be very frustrating for the top 5 teams. And then Scotland, Dawson, if Scotland get knocked out of the pool, but they're in the same pool as number 1 in the world and the Springboks, the current world champions, and they don't make it to the quarterfinal, like their coach, will he get pressure for not making it, getting fired? What's going to happen? So, yeah.
But I think if you look at like South Africa, if they do make it all the way through, you can't say they were not the best team.
Understood. But I mean, look at the last hard. Okay, but if we win. But look at the way. So look at England. Look at England's last World Cup, the 2019. They had a hectic run to the final. And the thing is they were just slaying Oaks left, right, and centre. Then when they knocked New Zealand out, you know, Australia knocked out, they clapped Argentina, then they hit Australia, then they hit New Zealand. They were hitting all 4 championship sides.
When they hit New Zealand, the Springboks were smiling.
Well,
They had the World Cup.
However, England, I mean, for them to get over all 4 championship sides, that was a massive ask. Okay, but they were looking good. When they hit New Zealand, they were looking so good. And then South Africa just had their number in the final. So,
look, let's talk about New Zealand. Scott Robertson selected 2024. Dorsey as the head coach for the All Blacks. So well deserved.
Yeah, I think he deserves it. I mean, if you just go and look at his record with the Crusaders, I just feel a little bit.
Has he got it?
No, of course I think he's got it, but I just feel really hard for all the current coach, Hansa, because now seeing a new coach so straight into it before a World Cup, I think it can play on guys' heads. It can understand why they play for him or they play for the new coach or how they play. I think that for the mental strength of the current coach, I think it's a little bit harsh. To be honest,
I think he know that he wasn't going to continue.
Yeah, I understand that, but well, maybe I never knew that. But I feel a little bit harsh for the poor guy because they've announced it straight away. Well, you know what, and go, so what's happened? Everyone wrong.
Go and win the thing. And say, hey, I'm a new coach. I proved you all wrong. Because he keeps on proving them wrong. Everyone has this thing about New Zealand not being where they are, but they've done pretty damn well. I mean, considering how everyone else has stepped up, you go play in France against France after a long ad of that, you lose and everyone looks at you like you're useless. Let's be honest, we all know what it's like. You play 1 million games of rugby in a season, you get to the end of it, you want to go home, you lose a couple of games, so what? And his goal is the World Cup, and we keep on saying this, coaches train for World Cups. You're not going to put your best team on the field every week. You're going to lose some. So then he's got a bigger plan than everyone thinks. Don't know.
I absolutely don't know.
Well, look, it could be disgraceful. He could have announced it, Hansen, but yeah, it's going to be a clash. Like you said, the pools are uneven, I would say. That's probably the right word to say it. We are top 5 to 6 teams are going to be competing at the quarterfinals, potentially with the teams going into the semis and finals. Australia probably got a clear ticket through to the final. Again, I think England's not. I think Australia can walk over England if they have to. And obviously with Eddie there, he knows the strategy. He's done it. He's done it 4 or 5 times. He can do it.
So where is Wales in this? Well,
Yeah, no, Wales.
And if you
Yeah,
go by what everyone's saying, give them a moment.
Argentina.
Yeah, look, but okay. So on a realistic front, I hear what you're saying, but
You like the Hobbit?
no. You've been very nice, especially seeing as the things you've been saying in previous shows about Wilson. Just
We'll get to
I
it.
didn't do that.
Anyway, so but if you look at what I'm saying is without upsets, because yes, Argentina, they beast. They've got upsets up their sleeve. Wales, Japan, Fiji. Don't forget about Fiji.
Has it been
That's a swear word. That's a swear word here.
But Japan. And I lost me.
Matt, in all fairness, without upset on the table, because I mean, if Wales beat Australia or England, it would be considered an upset. So without that,
Is Australia winning?
yeah, that's very upsetting.
We're going to move on there. I personally think Australia into the final. It is going to be France or Boca.
Boca, hopefully, yeah.
The other box.
So when it's what happens, the really hold up, we are holding up. It's going to be a fantastic little World Cup. We're going to have huge banter. We're going to have JJ back. We're going to have Fortune back. We're going to have Star Wars of rugby. Hopefully, Dorsey, you will want to come. Probably not. It's going to be a good one. Coming up after this, we are going to get to know the man, Brendan Dawson. We've got some good stuff. We're going to talk about the Sables as one as the Goshawks are going to be playing for the next 5 games, coming up after the break. Right, we're back with Babu Banter and chatting to Brendan Dawson, the legend Sables head coach, as well as obviously the most caps Sables of all time, 108 caps. First game against Scotland and his last game against Namibia. Dorsey, obviously with the Sables now, you've selected a Goshawk side. You guys are playing in the first division of South African rugby. It was great last year. And you'll step up now to this year. Challenges, obviously, that's always financial. How things been, and obviously preparing now for the games coming up, 4 games coming up.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be difficult. We didn't obviously qualify for a World Cup. So, obviously your sponsors that were looking at wanting to be part of the World Cup with us obviously have fallen away. And, a lot of these sponsors are struggling to put a 4-year plan or an 8-year plan in, which obviously us coaches and management and financial sides do. So, yeah, we are struggling. We've actually had to cancel 3 of our first opening games. It's all travelling games, all in South Africa. We've had to cancel them and forfeit the points to them, just purely because we don't have the finance to go. So, excuse me. So we our first games on the 15th here in Harare against Namibia, and so we go. We'll have four home games on the trot, and then we obviously go to Cape Town to play Kenya and to play the one European side that's in the tournament. So yeah, Robbie, it's been very difficult, and to try and get sponsors back in line to follow the 4-year plan. It's been difficult, and we're struggling hard with that.
I walked that journey last year with the World Cup, preparing for it, met with you in Joburg with the boys, in Cape Town as well with the boys. I saw how difficult that was from a financial point of view. You were knocking on every single door. I mean, the head coach shouldn't be knocking on the door for sponsorship, to be totally honest. But you do it for the passion of it. Obviously, the challenge now is, are you guys ready for these games coming up? I know from your passion, you probably are almost there. But from the challenges, are you looking forward to this coming up, and are you prepared?
Yeah, we obviously we got to be as best prepared as we can. Within with what we can do and we can, and with the players that we have. It's a new challenge, and it's a new challenge that I've taken on with the squad of making it a development side. So Robbie, I think the guys will be best prepared, and let me say the guys are working hard. The guys we've been in camp for 2 weeks now, and the guys are really putting a lot of work in, a lot of effort in the gym side and on the field. So the guys themselves are very pumped up, and it's a very, very new bunch of young guys that are really determined to want to play for the country, and are very, very excited to have the opportunity to go through.
We've got a question from one of our audience here, from JJ. JJ, your question.
With your coming up squad in 2022 and your Sable squad, we noticed you had quite a lot of foreign-based players as opposed to local. What was your thinking behind that? Is that because they had more game time at their various clubs, or do we not have the talent at the time in Zim? Yeah, look, obviously it all comes down to talent. You know, we what you wanting to have the best players available to you to go and win your World Cup qualifier, your World Cup qualifiers. So we had seen that there was a lot of top quality talent that played outside of the rest of the world, and that's what we wanted to bring in. And we needed those big boys, to play Namibia, where Namibia's team is 98% foreign-based players. That are playing in Southampton. They're playing Saracens, Northampton, Bath, and in France, Australia. They've played all over the world. So for us to win our World Cup qualifiers, we needed to bring in our players. So that's why we looked at the World Cup side to be slightly different to what we played in the Currie Cup. So we found a couple of nice talented lighties that have come through from the under-20s, and which have now come into the squad now. We took 2 under-20s to our World Cup qualifiers, where they'd developed, they'd grown, and they'd learned a hell of a lot playing in the Currie Cup.
Gents, any comments on that?
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay, so Dorsey, what would you need our clubs? I mean, are our clubs coming to the party and grooming the players the way to the level that you require, or are you having to pick up a lot of the pieces? Because let's call a spade a spade. Are our clubs delivering the standard of player that's going to start beating Namibia?
No, I don't believe they are. But it's not the club's fault. It's our economy, it's our systems, our what's happening within the rugby in our country. Purely because they can't find sponsorship. They can't, you got kids that are coming from Mbari and Tutinguiza and having to catch ETs, and they're trying to get home at night. And, you've got guys that are not being able to get in the gyms because they can't afford it. So, when we come into our camp, we put guys into gyms. We manage to be able to get, protein powders and all the supplements that they need. And they grow within 2 months and transform into something different. So, no. Are the clubs we have, but I'm not saying it's their fault, and it's a system that we're around, and it comes down to finance. The first time ever last weekend was a tournament played where there was actually money. I remember going to Await a couple of days ago when there was 12 guys. When I came back from being in Below and came back to go and help them with Pete Bernardi, there were 40 guys because they all know there was money. So everybody needs that carrot, to be able to bring them. So their clubs, if they win it, they can pay guys to come to clubs and have food packs and have this kind of thing for them, So, the clubs struggle, with regards to that.
Great. I've got 2 questions, Robbie. I hope you don't mind. The first one is, let's say, I know we've got the financial problems. Let's say we've got all the money in the world right now. What's the first thing you would change in Zimbabwe?
Well, I'd make sure that the competition is good here. We're able to keep players back. We're losing endless players every year. They come straight out of school, Oaks leaves up, and they leave because there's no jobs. We need to open up an academy that can, bring in kids and bring in players that we can keep here. And I'm not saying you can do it to every kid, but if you can get a bunch of 40 guys in a camp that are really talented and can go forward. You'll see Zimbabwe rugby would change in a matter of 2 years. You would see it change drastically.
And my second question, I'm not the oldest bloke around, but I don't know anyone who's more passionate about Zimbabwe rugby than you. My second question is, put your playing career here.
Your third question, sorry.
No, that one was a comment. What school did you? That one was a comment. I won't mention my school. That one was a comment. Put your playing career there and your coaching career there. Which one would you want to do over and over again?
Yeah, I'd like to do my coaching career. I got a lot out of my playing career, and my playing career taught me how to coach, and taught me what to understand what it is to play the game of rugby. And there was a couple of us in our setup that were the fitness, and we knew what. Now I know exactly what fitness is all about. And if you can be as fit as what we were in our time, and play the game of rugby now, So I've learned a hell of a lot from my playing career, but let me tell you, there's nothing greater than coaching and developing. Probably if you say to me how my biggest thrill out of rugby, coaching is to see and develop something from somewhere, exactly, for example, like a Bright Mavaseri. Blythe Mavaseri came to us in the Supersport Challenge 2019 at 86 kgs. When he left our camp after 4 months, he was 98 kgs. He had then got a contract to go to UWC. He got player that rocks for 2 years in a row. He's now playing for the Sharks.
And how much does he weigh now with the South African steelweights?
Can we get sponsor on about buying South Africa with the steel that they're giving out? I just need to point out, this is the Matt we've had behind the scenes, Dos. So Matt, you and Matt, you guys know each other well?
Do you have a good relationship? Because we're about to ruin it.
Is that a go?
No, we've got one more question from our audience.
Brendan, obviously we didn't qualify for 2023 World Cup, but looking to 2027 World Cup, are you preparing now for 2027, or is that something you're going to look at doing after this year's World Cup? So, we're very fortunate that we've got a 4-year program now, and where normally everything starts if you're a head guard, like for example Namibia, they'll only start building after the World Cup. We've got a year that's sort of free for us, if you want to call it that way. And so I'm going to use this as a development program. And this Currie Cup side that we've picked now, we've got 4 guys from our World Cup side that are in this Currie Cup side. We've got a lot of youth, a lot of youngsters, a lot of 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, a lot of guys that have never even played provincial like that. And I've seen a lot of talent in them. I've seen what they could produce. They've grown, they've developed to something really, really exciting. So yes, this is going to be a development program. This Currie Cup, we'll struggle, but it's going to be hard yards and it's going to be good. But I think we'll surprise a lot of people. But yes, it's going to be a development year this year, and then going into the year that the guys that we're developing and finding, if they're good enough, they're coming to our Victoria Cup side. Where Victoria Cup is related with rankings, so we want to make sure that when we go to Victoria Cup, we win. So we're going to bring back a couple of the foreign-based players. But if I find guys that are really developed within Currie Cup, we'll leave them and we'll leave the foreign-based players out for them to. So it's all about developing and bringing in some youth and then bringing in experience. So youth and experience would gel nicely together, and we just keep on developing. So we've got these youngsters that have played 4 years of Currie Cup that go to a World Cup qualifier after 4 years of hard Currie Cup rugby. I think we're on the right track, and we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to develop a great depth of players. And so what I need to be going to a situation where I've got 4 fly halves are going, geez, like, man, who do I pick? Get 8 front rankers, who do we pick? We got 6 locks from all over the world, and that's what we got to get to. So, and the competition amongst the players themselves needs to be really tough, and that's what I'm hoping to be able to develop now.
Right, so that's the words coming from Brendan Dawson. But Dorsey, just a quick question. I know there's been so many challenges as well, and there's been some heartfelt stories. I mean, in the stories, give us that one story that's captured you where it kind of took your breath away. And I know there's a particular story of just where it's really been difficult for you as a coach, and obviously just as a man and a family man to go through.
No, look, I mean, it's also very difficult, to go ask for money is tough, and to I've been in Harare now for the last 2 months, and I've gone to probably 38 to 40 companies, and it's tough. It's hard to go and ask people for money, and to get a couple of doors closed, and folks saying no, and it's hard, and it's hard to go back again and try and rejuvenate yourself for the next day to go and see another 5 guys. That is tough, it's tough, after playing at going to the World Cup, when we lost in Namibia, I went into a bit of a depression, and even before we played Ivory Coast, the final game, before we played Algeria, and it was tough to try and get out of that, because you wonder where you are you doing the right thing? You knock on doors, people say they see what you guys are trying to do and what you're trying to do, but don't step up, and it's hard. I mean, I'm not, I don't knock anybody for not doing it. I don't knock that at all. But it's just hard when you see the rest of the world progressing and going forward and being professional and being able to do what they want. Me as a coach, I struggle to coach, because what I'm trying to think about is finance to make sure that we can bring in players, we can fly in players, we can have food packs. We can try and put oaks in hotels. We've come to this scenario where three-quarters of my team have to stay in Aurora, say at their family at homes, and I've got 12 guys in a hotel. So how do we, gel? How do we do all of that together? It's tough. And sometimes you wonder whether it's the right thing that you're doing, especially when we don't get paid, a massive amount, or we hardly get paid actually to do what we do. So it's hard, but I love it. It's my passion. It's what I love doing.
What a massive servant to Zimbabwe rugby. I'm putting a plea out there for the Zimbabwe banter. Get behind the Zimbabwe Sables. Get behind this man, Brendan Dawson. I think you can see the passion is there. For a coach to be going and knocking on the doors for money is not right. So we need to get behind as a corporate Zimbabwe and support the man, because he's shown you the blueprint of what can happen. And I think with the right money, as you're saying, you can go far. Obviously, a bit of banter now, Dorsey. I think you can kickstart the banter with a bit of your career, maybe. Couple of stories.
When you said that what's Dorsey's most emotional moment, it was probably the moment that he had to tell Jan that, look, you can't play the next game. That was very emotional. I know that choked you up, Dorsey. We traveled such a long road together, and then you bloody just ready to get out of here. You're fat and unfit. I was like, and you love gymming. I love gymming.
I don't think you can do what I saw.
What was one of the funniest things but we were trying to contemplate this off air. Just keep it as a fan here, better.
Try your best. Try your best.
It's quite hard to try and put that aside and try and think that some of these things were funny at times. But yeah, look, we had some great times. We shared a lot of good humor. The nice thing about our rugby and our downtime was we were non-professional, so everybody was equal. Everybody was at the same level. We used to, be able to play a top cup game on a Saturday. They'd pick the national team on a Sunday, and we'd play Ireland or Scotland or Italy or Portugal on the following Saturday. So we'd go to camp for a week.
How many Mashonas in the side?
There were so many.
There were Baptist players. Where are Busters jerseys all from that?
The Baptist players.
Consider the Busters jerseys falling off.
They're heavy with prestige.
Then I think Victor Matfield's knee. But anyway, so it's one of a story for.
Yeah, I just wanna. He asked me a question. What school I went to? Yeah. So there are two private schools in Marondera. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Not the one Beast played for. I was at the other one.
Which is
Diggerford.
Watershed. Do you know any great rugby players from Watershed? Please say yes.
How do you spell
Do you know it?
Do you know any great rugby players?
To be honest, I don't know any rugby players, but I know some cricket players. Ray Price was there.
Never heard of it.
Let's take a roll. You don't know Ray Price? You don't know Ray Price. Raymond Price. You talk on nonsense. I do the cricket. He said cricket. He knows Ray Price. No, but honestly, do you know anyone from Watershed?
No, I don't.
I know you.
Right, happy with that.
Cheers, gents.
TT, thanks so much, okay? He also does birthday parties.
Right, guys. Dorsey, I was going to say thank you for coming to our chat. It's a privilege to have you here. We know you are doing an incredible job. And we certainly do support you. The banter's there, but the support is there. And certainly for the next 4 years, we would love to see you as the head coach of Zimbabwe Sables going ahead to the World Cup. And let's get behind you. And corporate, let's get behind Dorsey. And once again, thank you very much to our live audience. Thank you very much to my group here. My production, thank you so much, guys. To our viewers, please make sure that you subscribe. Please share, especially on Instagram, Facebook, as well as on YouTube. Please subscribe and follow, and make sure that you get onto Zimbabwe Banter. Next week, we are at Athletic on the 30th of March.
And Robbie, and I must say, thank you to all our sponsors. We know you're not wrong yet, But you know, when you do come, we will thank you with any beats of our little beating heart. What I said, yeah, I might do a special dance for you. Or a birthday party like you said. Or a birthday party. So, thank you to all our sponsors. We probably do need some duct tape for the next show.
Welcome back to 12 Fishes of the Week. Till next week, we catch you on Bubble Banter. Make sure you follow us. Cheerio from us.
Cheers. This is Bed Headache.